Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. I'm rested, I'm relaxed, watched a lot of football, ate a lot of junk food. It was a great weekend for me.
Also here, writer-director John Schnepp.
I lazed about, hardly did anything, really, and yet I'm still tired. I don't know why. Drinking coffee, and then we started talking about what we're going to talk about at the end of the show, so now I'm all like, so, that's where I'm at now.
And also here, AMC's Mark Ellis.
Yeah, I just want to say to everybody who was at the Golden Globes last night, I hope rehab is going well.
The box office results are in, and it was a good weekend for Liam Neeson. The actor's new movie, Taken 3, took the top spot at the box office, making over $40 million on its opening weekend. In the number 2 spot is the Martin Luther King film Selma, making $11.2 million. And third was the Disney film Into the Woods, adding another $9.7 million to its total, bringing it over $105 million domestically in 3 weeks. In fourth is The Hobbit: Battle of the Five Armies, making $9.7 million, bringing its domestic total to over $236 million, and its worldwide total to $781 million in its 4th week of release. Rounding out the top 5 is the Angelina Jolie directed film Unbroken, making $8.3 million and breaking the $100 million mark in its domestic run in its 3rd week. John, what stands out to you in the weekend box office results?
People love them some Liam Neeson. Even coming off of a not well received Taken 2. Coming in a weekend, a very busy weekend, with some big hitters still on the tail end of their runs, granted. People loved themselves some Liam Neeson, and they wanted to see more Taken, and they wanted to see who was going to get taken this time, and they went out there. The other thing that kind of stands out to me about the list, it's good to see Selma doing well, and the run of the 3rd Hobbit film, goodness gracious, that thing's going to crack $800 million worldwide, adding to the coffers of Warner Brothers. Now, you think they regret splitting this franchise into 3? I think it creatively was a mistake. I think they should have kept it as 2 films. Now I do, having seen the 3rd. Sure. And I like the 3rd film, but they ain't regretting the decision. They have 800 million reasons to like the decision they made. But the other kind of little asterisk on this weekend's report is that in 10th place was the newest Hunger Games film, which I believe now it's official, has passed Guardians of the Galaxy to be the #1 domestic box office movie of 2014. Because even though it is 2015 now, it was released in 2014, so it counts as a 2014 film. So congratulations to all the folks at Lionsgate for that. They have the #1 domestic box office movie of the year. And who would have thought a year ago that we would be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy being the 2nd biggest domestic box office film of the year? Give me a break. Anyway, Schnapp, what stands out to you about the box office this week?
Well, one of the things is Unbroken, that it's not only still making a ton of money, I mean, it got savaged by critics before it came out. And so, honestly, I saw it and I didn't think it was a horrible film. I thought it was a good film, a little bit too much torture for me.
I thought it was okay.
It was okay, but I'm happy that so many people are flocking to see the World War II torture porn. You know what I mean? It's like it's a sad film. It's a little bit uplifting at the end, but it's like, man, it's pretty brutal. It's more brutal than I thought. So, I mean, that's the most shocking thing to me. And Taken 3, that also got tons of hatred from critics. I mean, people.
It was like a 9% on Rotten
The director's
Tomatoes.
last name is Megaton. It's like a megaton explosion.
You're one consonant away.
Yeah, and so
being really cool.
He directed 2, and then he's directing this 3rd one that people hated on 2 and 3. So I mean, I don't know. So
I think with Unbroken, it's a multi-generational tale, and so multiple people or multiple demographics want to go see this film, and I encourage you to go see it in theaters because it's a story that whatever you think about Angelina Jolie's direction or any of that stuff, it's a great story, and she tells it well enough to where I think it warrants your money. Yeah. What I'll say about Taken is that the tagline for Taken 3 is that it ends here. I ain't so sure about that after $40 million. I mean, are there any appendices to Taken that we can dig into?
Taken the early years?
Yeah, is there anything else in Taken that we can get into? I mean, I was worried I would have Liam Neeson fatigue after this film before I saw Taken 3 at a theater, and before it they ran a trailer for Run All Night, which stars Liam Neeson in a very Taken-like role, and I was like, I'll go see that. And so I kind of want to see more Liam Neeson.
Mistaken.
Mistaken.
Retaken. Untaken.
Retaken. That's your title. Retaken. All right, what's next?
Gary Whitta, who wrote the Denzel Washington film The Book of Eli, and finished his draft of the upcoming standalone Star Wars movie to be released in December of next year, and has departed the project. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Whitta said the following: "The year I spent working with Lucasfilm on this Star Wars film has been by far the most rewarding period of my entire career. As a lifelong Star Wars fan, I'm deeply grateful to have had the rare opportunity to contribute to a new chapter in its ongoing cinematic legacy. The film is going to be amazing. It's expected that a new writer will be attached soon." Schnepp, does changing writers in between drafts worry you?
No, not at all. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, even with Star Wars 7, what was that one guy, Arntz? He was writing it, and they were like, he was on it for a year, and then he got taken off and completely replaced. It's like, I'm sure the spine of whatever he was writing was there. I'm sure some of the dialogue might remain. It really depends. But, ultimately the studio is like, hey, we're working on this, where everything's being made. And once the writer's on for a year and they're in pre-production, they're basically taking that script and building off of that script. They're making storyboard, they're making previs. So whatever he worked on, I mean, there's a ton of previs, there's a ton of things that are already established. And I'm sure there's some things that might remain from his script. It's probably not going to be a page one rewrite. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, I think you've kind of nailed it on the head here. This wasn't his film anyway. This is Gareth Edwards' film.
Right.
And so everything under the film is working towards serving the director and their vision of the film. So he takes that first draft that got handed in. There seems to be no bad blood there. He loved working on it. I'm actually even getting the feeling this was planned all along, that he was going to write this one draft and then move on to his next project. And then Edwards was going to take that draft, get on another writer, work it, tinker it to the way Edwards wants it to be, and then move forward with it. And you're right, this isn't unusual. I've read a couple of Star Wars fan sites today that were really, really worried about this, that this might be a bad omen. And look, I'm not a stick my head in the sand Star Wars fan. If there's something bad about the Star Wars universe, I won't go into it again, but I will call it out. But this is nothing to be worried about whatsoever. I think it says nothing about it. Anyway, Mark, did you see any other way?
I mean, yeah, I always get a little worried just because the little kid in me is like, no, it should be one guy writes it, one guy directs it, and all those things. I want everything to be so simple. But when you look at it from a positive standpoint, if we're doing the Abraham Lincoln model of filmmaking, where it's, no, let's have everybody come to the table, let's have everybody's best idea, it is a lot easier to take the spine of what one guy did and then punch it up. And so I like the fact that it's like, hey, this is where I think the story should have gone. Now let's have these other voices come in, as long as it never gets to that point where studios have done before, it's too many cooks in the kitchen and it's too many people's vision of what it should be. I don't have that fear, but of course I'm going to be a little worried when some guy who was on a project isn't on it anymore.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
With a Matt Damon Bourne movie currently set to hit AMC theaters on July 29, 2016, many fans have been speculating if Jeremy Renner's Aaron Cross character, who was the lead in the recent Bourne Legacy film, would make an appearance. However, Bourne producer Frank Marshall recently said the following: "We don't have plans for that. You never know. I never say never. But that's not the plan. They're on separate tracks." Mark, buy or sell Marshall's comments?
I buy it because we're going to have Matt Damon go up against Liam Neeson in Bourne: The Taken-See. I think I actually do buy these comments for now, simply because I think they're on separate tracks, and that I'm never going to say never. I actually think that he is going to meet up or fight Jeremy Renner in a future Bourne movie, but I do not think that's the plan for this film. So for now, I'll buy it. If this was a stock where I had to do long-term projections, I'd save my money. But for this statement right now, I'll buy it.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I buy it too. I mean, I feel bad for Renner because he was like, all right, now my trilogy. No, hang on a second. And then with Mission Impossible, the same thing.
Yeah.
He's got another franchise that he's in that's not too bad.
Well, I mean, he's a zombie again in Avengers, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, dude. He's like, I'm being controlled by robots, you know? Like, just give up, dude. Or just collect those checks, man. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not really that bummed out. I think it's a good idea for Renner to come in. And he's not saying it's not going to happen. Renner could show up at the end and be like, give me your hand, you know, like jumping off of a train or some weird action sequence. So you never know. But yeah, I'm sure they'll work him back in.
I buy the comments, I really do. But there's another level of intrigue here that a lot of people aren't talking about. Remember, the Aaron Cross character is a creation of Tony Gilroy, who directed the Bourne Legacy, right? But he was also co-writer and writer of the first three Bourne films, right? But by the time they got to the third one, Tony Gilroy and Paul Greengrass could not stand each other. And Tony Gilroy, according to all reports, only agreed to write the script if he in no way had to interact with Paul Greengrass whatsoever. And then Matt Damon made these public, I think it was in Hollywood Reporter or Variety, he was doing an interview, and said, yeah, Tony Gilroy, man, if I let you see the draft of the script he put out, he would never work again in this town. It was off. I could put it on eBay and nobody would buy it. I think that's exactly what he said. And then he was like, I don't blame him. He didn't like what was going on, so he just wrote some piece of trash script, handed it in, took his paycheck, and left. And like, it got real nasty. And so now you've got Greengrass and Damon back in. It's like, oh, we got this character that Tony created? Yeah, leave him out. Like, so I don't know if that's part of what's going on now. I'd like to think that maybe Matt and Paul Greengrass are more professional than that. But it is a level of intrigue to it that you have to keep in mind. Right. Anyway, what's next?
Reports have emerged that actress Melissa McCarthy is now in talks to appear in the upcoming female-led Ghostbusters remake. Said to be a reimagining of the classic with no continuity connection between them, McCarthy has been rumored for a role since the first reports of the project emerged. The new film is being directed by McCarthy's Bridesmaids and the Heat director Paul Feig. John Byers saw Melissa McCarthy possibly joining Ghostbusters.
Well, ignoring the fact that I'm not excited about the project at all in the first place and just going on this notion, sure, I buy it. I mean, there's a reason why everybody's been talking about her name ever since they announced this whole thing, is because it makes sense. She would be a good fit for a project like this. She's also had great success working with Paul Feig, right? So that whole thing, look, maybe I just haven't been paying a lot of attention. What jumped out to me about the report, though, is that I've always had in my head somewhere that this was going to be in the continuity of Ghostbusters, that this is going to be 30 years later, there's a new generation of Ghostbusters, and they're all women, and stuff like that. I didn't really realize that they're sweeping the old continuity away. None of that is there. This is a fresh new take on Ghostbusters. I gotta admit, it increases my interest in it a little bit, seeing as they get a completely clean piece of paper that they can just write and draw whatever they want on it. That's cool, so sure, I'll buy it, Mark.
Yeah, I'm cool with the fact that it's a total reboot, first of all, because it doesn't mean that you at home have to throw away your Ghostbuster Blu-rays. It doesn't mean that. This is just this movie's universe, and I think it's a smarter way to do it than to have a male cast be the Ghostbusters. We've talked about all this stuff for weeks. With Melissa McCarthy, I think this is the perfect vehicle for her, because I think she can be a leading woman in her own right, and she can star in her own movie, but having her in a franchise like this, where you get to have her interact and play off of other women like she did in Bridesmaids, or like she did in The Heat, that is the perfect vehicle for her, where she can just kind of stand in the corner and knock down threes all day. I think she's going to be great.
Shep?
I think Melissa McCarthy's perfect for this. I was really excited to hear that Ghostbusters was getting a reboot as opposed to a 30-year sequel.
Right.
And I was really actually happy that, I mean, I loved Ghostbusters and I love Dan Aykroyd, but I think his obsession with the Ghostbusters 3 thing really got tiring to keep reading about it for like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
It got tiring, and it was like, to me, it's extra refreshing.
15 years of any minute now.
I know.
It's coming.
It's going to happen. Oh, your guys are going to love it. It's like an entire universe. All right. It's like, even if this is part of like Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, if there's a billion different, Ghostbusters universes and this is one of them, I think Melissa McCarthy's perfect, and having an all-female cast just switches it up just enough where it'll have a brand new kind of flavor to it. So I'm all for it.
I think I might be a sell on this if it wasn't for the fact that Paul Feig is directing it. Because I agree with you. Melissa McCarthy can carry a film. But then when she kind of set off to do it without Feig directing her, we got Tammy. And she floundered in Tammy. Did not work. But she's still got all that talent. So the fact that she's going to be working with this guy again, that she's had her greatest success with so far, I think that bodes well. So that's what I'm going to give it a buy. All right, what's next?
Captain America the Winter Soldier co-star Anthony Mackie recently revealed that the next Captain America film, Captain America Civil War, is set to start filming in April and will shoot in Atlanta, Puerto Rico, and Berlin. Captain America Civil War is scheduled to hit AMC theaters on May 6, 2016. Jeanette Byers-Sell Mackie's comments.
I buy it. I like that they're going all around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see Baron Zemo in this. I almost said Baron Nemo.
Baron Nemo.
He's Captain Nemo's little brother. There's a squid I want to get.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Mark?
Sure, I'll buy it. I mean, look, the fact that they're shooting it on multiple continents is very exciting. It feels very Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom kind of thing. But again, in this day and age, you can shoot the whole thing in Atlanta and you can make it look like it's anywhere.
Right.
I like the fact that they might be using some real locations in Berlin or Peru. But again, this could just be, hey, we're shooting in these 3 locations because we get tax breaks in these 3 places. I don't know why they're shooting here, but the fact that it's shooting in April is very, very exciting.
They're doing it so they could have that Anthony Mackie graphic like the Indiana Jones, like the little button, going to each continent.
Make it 3 for 3 for me. Yeah, I like, look, they're clearly with Avengers Age of Ultron, they're clearly going for more international flavor. The Adventures of the Avengers are a global thing now, not just confined to New York City or wherever it was in the US they're going. It's a global thing, and they're carrying that through with Captain America. The other thing that really stands out to me is like, you keep, with all the talk of Ant-Man and Avengers Age of Ultron, all that kind of stuff, we forget Captain America 2 is like 15 months away. It's not, or Captain America 3, I should say, Captain America Civil War is less than a year and a half away. That's crazy how soon it is. You totally forget about how soon it is. So it's like when it says they're going to be shooting in April, my first thought was, oh, they're going on that pretty soon. Oh, wait a minute, that's not soon. That movie's coming out like less than a year and a half. So yeah, for me, it's a buy. All right, folks, we reached out part of the show for mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're going to try to save a couple of minutes at the end of the show to take some of your live questions on Twitter as well. So if you're watching us live, start tweeting in questions to @AMC Movie News. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Terrell Jameson writes, greetings and salutations, AMC crew. Late last week, reports came out that Batman vs. Superman was rumored to be splitting into 2 films. The first would be called Batman vs. Superman Enter the Night, and the second would be Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. It also said the first one would come out in 2015. I haven't heard you guys talk about it and was wondering what your thoughts are. Thanks, and let's have a great 2015.
Okay, I'm going to do my best not to go into full all-out rant mode here, okay? So here's the thing. So that thing came out, and I remember I first saw the picture, and let's bring up that picture. Here's the graphic that everybody is talking about. This image here that you see, Batman vs. Superman, Part 1, Enter the Night, which sounds like a really bad 1970s gay porn title, but whatever, was for October 2015. Part 2, Dawn of Justice, at its regularly scheduled date. So this image comes out, and I remember I see it, and I was like instantly intrigued. It's like, what's this? This is fairly interesting. Because just on its face value, it's like, will this kind of make sense? It was a really long shoot. Maybe they have enough material that you could split it into 2. We have been speculating on this show for a long time. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't bet on it, but I won't fall over shock if Warner Brothers shocks the world and comes out with Superman. So like, by the way, Batman vs. Superman, October 2015, baby, and like just shocks everybody, right? I think that would be genius of them to do. So sure, it kind of fits into this little box, this narrative we've been creating about what could happen. It makes sense, sure. But that is where my joygasm ended. Because then I'm like, well, what's the source? There's got to be a really cool source. This came out of Warner Brothers. This came out of a guy who we know did this, blah, blah, blah. Here's what this image is. And let's bring this picture up one more time. Let's bring this up. Here's what this picture is. It is a random, unverified, anonymous picture on Imager that somebody then shared on Reddit. Nobody knows who it came from. There is absolutely no verification to its authenticity, no evidence at all, not a shred of anything to suggest this could be real. There is nothing in the world, and I read every site that ran, well, I couldn't read every site that ran this as a story because every site did. But there was absolutely no shred of evidence to suggest this is anything other than some 14-year-old with moderate Photoshop skills who just put together a graphic and threw it online. Nothing. Nothing at all. And yet, sites picked it up and ran with it as a story. And this is the thing that I know you guys hear me go on this, but I'm so passionate about this topic. The flagrant disrespect that the movie news web sphere, of which I am a part of, and I have been guilty of this in the past. That's part of the reason it gets me pissed off, because I know this is something inadvertently I have done too, and it really irks me. When we show such flagrant disrespect to the movie fan community, when we show such flagrant disrespect to the fans who invest their time in reading our sites, in listening to our podcasts, and in watching our videos. We don't care that we are feeding them what we know full well is total BS. There's not one of these sites that ran this as any kind of a story that they're not intelligent enough to know. They were all far more intelligent enough to know that this was total BS, but they didn't care. They were going to run it anyway and let the speculation run around some fans. They didn't care that they were causing confusion and misinformation with their readers. There was nothing to support that this was real. If there was at least something there that said, actually, this came from a guy who was once a WB employee and is still friends with a lot of people there, that's still not enough, but then you can see why, okay, maybe. There was nothing. And a lot of these websites running these headlines of rumors of Batman versus Superman being split into two. Others, a lot of these headlines were reports claim that blah. Rumors and reports? You made the frickin' rumors and reports! This wasn't a rumor until you started spreading this BS. This wasn't a report until you said it was a report. This is one of those examples where the movie news sphere online created their own big typhoon of confusion for the fans. Why? Because they just wanted the hits. Look, you just want hits. Everybody online wants hits. There's nothing wrong with that. Craving success, that's great. Do what BuzzFeed does. Make fluff pieces, make top 5 lists. We all do that. You're not confusing your audience. You're not spreading misinformation. You're just putting up good stuff that gets a lot of hits, and do that. Don't intentionally mislead your readers and the whole damn community. This is what makes our whole industry a joke, is that guys like you, and look, I know a lot of really good guys who made a mistake. They didn't intentionally make mistakes, so I don't want to lump everybody into one thing. That's unfair of me. But there are some people out there who just knew this was total BS. They had no doubt, there was no validity to it, and yet they put it out as a piece of news. The rumors, the reports, you are the rumor and the report. You created it. Let's show some more respect to the people who read our websites and watch our shows. Let's show some more respect to the movie fan community that lets us do what we do because we're a part of them. Let's nurture this and grow it and celebrate it, not treat it like crap. Anyway, that's me going on about it. You guys saw this same thing too. Anyway, Schneps, let's start with you. Your thoughts when you first saw it and the promise that it held.
Yeah, well, you know what? When I first saw it, it was pretty early in the day, so it's like a lot of sites hadn't even started covering it yet. And I just saw the picture, and I was like, wow, I think I saw it on somebody retweeted it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that's pretty crazy. And then as Enter the Night, that's a weird title, and I was like, I wonder is that real? And looked around and I couldn't find an origin source. So I was like, and it looks kind of like, this is like a test. Like, we didn't finish the fonts yet. I have an extra early trailer and I'm not willing to share the trailer, but look at this thing. Hey, look, worse things have happened. So of course I was like, hey, I don't care if it's called Enter the Night. We're getting, some amazing Superman Batman movie in October of this year. I was all excited about it, but I also held it with a grain of salt. I was like, if this happens, awesome. I'm jumping around like a little kid. But it's not gonna happen. It's only gonna happen if Warner Brothers, when they finally release this trailer and you see something like that, people would be like, ooh, turn white, freak out, and report it as actual news. But it was real, to me, I'm with you. I found it a bit astounding that everybody was using it as clickbait. I mean, everybody was reporting it as an actual news item, as opposed to look at what some fan did. Look at this. Hey, I mean, wouldn't it be cool? It should have been, wouldn't it be cool if this is real? Look at this. Here's somebody's starting this conjecture as oh, it's some fakery or something. I agree with you though. It's sad that it went all around the internet and people are talking about it like it was a real thing.
Yeah, I remember I had a bunch of people actually say to me, as I was going off about this on my Facebook page and making fun, and say, well, John, aren't you going to feel silly? I get this all the time whenever we debunk something. But I got a lot of it the other night. Aren't you going to feel really silly, though, if it turns out this is true? Of course I'll feel really silly. But it was still the wrong thing to run with this when there is no justification for it. But will I feel totally silly? Well, first of all, will come the incredible joy I will feel, because I think this is awesome. Yeah. I think this would be awesome. Yeah. I would be totally thrilled. Now, once I got past that being totally thrilled, would I feel silly and a bit embarrassed about how hard I went off against about how this is bull? Sure I will. But this is where the line gets drawn. I will gladly I will gladly take making myself look totally silly 1 time out of 10 to try to make sure that the 9 times out of the 10, I don't disrespect and mislead the people who watch us. That's the difference. I'm okay with looking stupid. I do a great job of it. I'm fine with looking stupid. But I'm going to look stupid, hopefully, I hope, doing the right things. And then I'll take it. I would rather not, and there's a lot of people who'd rather mislead the readers than take the risk of looking stupid. I'll stand up. This was bull. This is a totally wrong thing for people to run with. They never should have made this. The only reason it's a rumor and a report is because you guys ran with it. You're the ones who gave it life. And now we got all these fans tweeting and writing to us saying, hey, is this real? Is this real? Now they're confused because we mistreated them. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I feel like Apollo's trainer, you know? Like I'm just watching Drago just kill the movie and throw the damn towel, man! I think that I don't want to lump everybody in this together because I think that there were a lot of sites that did report it as a rumor because it's not like all the movie sites got together and were like, hey, let's hire some kid in his mom's basement to make this screenshot. I think that some people very erroneously reported it as a real story. But if you're going to say, hey, there's this rumor out there and we don't know what it is, we're going to write an article that speculates on what happens if this is true or if this is not true. I don't have a problem with that because we're dealing with movies and we're dealing with movie fans and it's fun to get excited about stuff, even if it doesn't end up coming true. Like when I had a few pops the night before and I woke up and I saw this and I was like, oh, cool, standalone Batman movie. That's what End of the Night means, right? That'd be awesome because it's Batman and that's Warner Bros. Or that's them leading with their foot that they know is going to work. Unlike Man of Steel or unlike Wonder Woman, they know that a Batman movie is going to suck everybody in to this universe. So it sounded like a smart play. So I agree that you don't run this as a story like, oh, look at what's happening because we found a screenshot somewhere that's really easy to make. However, if you're just going to say that this is a rumor that's out there and I feel like my readership wants to talk about this, then I don't have a problem with addressing it in that vein.
See, I kind of do, because I feel like I kind of do if you're a web editor and you see the story and then you investigate it yourself and then you realize in investigating it, there is nothing to this. This is totally wrong. Nothing to, there's no evidence about this whatsoever. The only site that I like the way they handle it is a site called, I think it's Batman News, I think it's what it's called. And because their headline was, this Batman Superman thing is a total hoax. That was the only site that ran it correctly. Everybody else is saying, oh, there's a rumor out there. Well, then by writing about it when you know there's no truth to it, you are perpetuating the rumor. You're perpetuating and feeding into the confusion amongst film fans. So like, my hat's off to, I think it's like batman-news.com. My hat's off to the way they handled it, because I think they handled it the right way.
Plus, it's a cool site if you're a Batman fan.
It's a very cool site if you're a
Should be going
Batman
to that,
fan,
so.
yes. Anyway, enough ranting about that nonsense. What's next?
Derek McFarlane writes, did you guys catch the Golden Globes last night? What did you think?
No. After I watched the 2 football games, it's like, can I watch the Golden Globes or maybe just go to Disneyland, man? Look, to me, the Golden Globes are about as legitimate as saying, Eddie in Toledo is releasing his personal top 5 lists of the movies of 2014. Why would I care? To me, the Golden Globes are they're nonsense. They're nothing. So, but that's just me. I know a lot of you guys really like them, and they do put on a good show. They have always put on a good show. Their show is better than the Oscars. But that's just me. That's my opinion. Do you guys catch
You
any
missed a
cool
lot
vibes?
because they had an Enter the Night trailer. Yeah. Man, does that movie look cool?
Pretty cool, right?
I mean, I'm with you to a certain extent to where I don't buy into the actual awards at all. I missed the first hours. I was still trying to figure out if Des Bryant made that catch or not. But once I tuned in, I always enjoy Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I think my problem with it is that it should be the show that is able to run as long as it wants. Like the last hour of that, they really accordioned that thing down. And it's like they just kept giving them the light. So you have these super famous, really fun, interesting people on stage, and all they can come out, they're like, hey, we're running low on time, so I'm just going to say the nominees. It's like that's the least interesting part of the Golden Globes is the nominees and who actually wins. The last thing I'll say is that Jennifer Lopez's dress, that movie that she's in next week, just earned another $15 million because that was astounding. Man, she's attractive.
Because the fun thing what is fun about the Golden Globes, to your point, is that you're watching these celebrities getting drunk and not really caring. Then all of a sudden NBC steps in and says, "No, gotta get this done in the next 15 minutes."
It was like their parents came home early from vacation. Like everybody get out of the house.
Yeah, they should let it roll a little bit more like the Dean Martin roasts. Like just watch everybody get hammered and it's maybe a fist fight. Somebody spills a drink. I don't watch it. I just watch it. Thank you, YouTube, for just you can just watch the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, just the opening. Their comedy bits are the only reason I watch.
They are so good.
So I watched all of their moments because they're fantastic. And there's nothing, I don't have anything against the Golden Globes. It's just, it's like the Hollywood. It's like a fake award ceremony that everyone gets together and be like, hey, look at us. It's just a big publicity thing. So it's fun and everything. But I mean, I'm sad to see them leaving. So I hope they replace this comedy duo with another amazing.
Did they say for sure they're not coming back next
This
year?
is their last one.
Oh,
They
that's
said, but
unfortunate.
that also opens the door for potentially next year at the Oscars. You get to see them like this is C-level ball, and so if they can
Yeah.
step up to the majors, they
Well,
can
we've
host the
seen that
Oscars.
with Neil Patrick Harris, right? He hosted a number of the. I don't want to call like the Tonys a smaller show, but the less than Oscar show.
Right.
He hosted a number of those types of shows, knocked it out of the park, and now we're seeing him do the Oscar. That would be a nice pair to see hosting.
You
the
heard
Oscars.
it here first.
That would be, yes, if it happens. Mark Ellis called it, that this is who is going to be hosting the Oscars in 2016. All right, unfortunately, like NBC, we have run out of time, so we don't have time to get to the live Twitter questions. My apologies, guys. We'll make sure we get them in on tomorrow's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater showtime and, of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, share this video on your Twitter, on your Facebook, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank, first of all, the guy sitting at the table with me, sitting right here, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
On Twitter at 5150Ellis and on Instagram, I'll post dirty pictures of John Schnepp.
And sitting over there, the aforementioned, fully clothed Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. And I'll make sure that he gets the photos.
And, of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova, Warrior Woman. Ashley, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Instagram at Warrior Woman. No, I'm kidding. At Ashley Mova. Happy Monday, guys.
And you can find me on the various social media outlets on Twitter and on Facebook, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.